All right, guess what's about to happen, folks? Some honest to goodness baseball games and games that have some meaning. We're going to be talking about the opening of the World Baseball Classic with Justin Lada of Locked On Guardians. This is a Locked On MLB crossover.
You are Locked On MLB crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to Locked On MLB, Locked On Guardians crossover. This is the podcast where we talk about either all of Major League Baseball or your 2026 World Series champion, Cleveland Guardians. And we are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is now the #1 podcasting sports network. This episode is brought to you by our new friends over at MLB The Show 26. Visit MLBTheShow.com/lockedon and use code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order now. It's available on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, on the PlayStation 5, Xbox, and, of course, the Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. I am not flying alone today. Coming back to the show, not to talk about Cleveland and their World Series hopes for 2026. We'll talk about that later because he's been on a bunch of shows. It's Justin Lada. How you doing, buddy?
I am ready for baseball that counts. I love spring training, and I love that I guess I can still say the Guardians could win the World Series. That's mathematically still true today. But I am excited to talk about international games that count. I'm excited.
Yeah, and I must say that the World Baseball Classic, at least the last time, caught my attention a lot more than it had any time in the past. It was, I admit, I was the first couple of times I did it, I was a big old grumpy grump about it. I said, these are just spring training games. But the last time around, you're starting to see that the players, the major league players are starting to care about it. The international players have always cared about it, which is why you always saw teams like Cuba and Japan and Korea doing great the first bunch of months because it actually meant something to them. And for Daisuke Matsuzaka, it meant a huge paycheck. But obviously what baseball wants is what the NHL has. This is that you don't say that often, that they want what hockey has. But they shut down the league to go off to the Winter Olympics. And if you are a hockey, and I enjoy hockey, I can't claim to be a huge hockey fan. But wow, you watch the, the hockey where all the best players in the world, and both the men and the women, were just all out and trying to win that gold medal. And of course, the United States won both of them. It meant something for everybody. And maybe, just maybe, it's starting to creep that way as the WBC has its, had the great success in the last time round. Maybe we'll see what happens with this one.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Team USA's pitching staff, right, Paul Skenes and Tarik Skubal are going to be on it. That was the USA's downfall in the last WBC, is they didn't have good starting pitching because people were just willing to commit. Now, I will say there's a little bit of like a half toe dipped in and not here because like Tarik Skubal is going to make one start and be done, and Paul Skenes is not going to be available for the championship should USA get there. So like they care a little more than they used to, but they're not all the way in. And I get it because they're protecting their own personal bodies and contracts and commitments to their teams. But like, I kind of wish there was more dedication to being all in, but I also get that too.
Well, I used to say, early on, I said, would you rather that you see your country win the WBC or you see you got an extra French fry in your bag when you go to McDonald's? I'm now to the point where I'd say, would you ask the question, would you rather, and you're a Cleveland fan, would you rather watch your team win the WBC or would watch your major league team advance from the wild card round?
Oh, yeah, I'm taking Cleveland all the way. Absolutely. I understand that. I mean, I honestly don't care which team wins the World Baseball Classic. I'm totally, I live in the USA. I don't have a dog in the fight. I just want to see some entertaining baseball here.
Yeah, me too. I am too. I just want to see. Here's what I want to see. I want to see players going all out. There were some years, like there was one year that like their pitchers were like, oh, they're on a 40 pitch count in the game. So what are we even doing here? I mean, and so what I want to do is I want to see a couple of players going all out, and I want to see at least one or two players from an unlikely country make me say, who the heck is that? And see some of that intensity on the field and in the stands.
You had that last time, like the guy from I can't remember his name, the guy from Czechia who struck out Shohei Ohtani with that really slow curveball. Everybody was rooting for Czechia because you had teachers and electricians and all these other like software programmers who were playing baseball against Team Japan for their country in the World Baseball Classic. I mean, I will say I'm personally invested in Team Australia's success because Travis Bazzana is playing for them. Obviously, he's a prospect. And they advanced last time, too. They were kind of a surprise story, and now they have him. So, that first game starts at, 10 p.m. Local time for me. I will be staying up to watch that game because I'm personally invested over there, and that's going to be something to watch for Clevelanders.
Well, you got 4 pools. You've got Pool A, and they're playing in San Juan. They're Pool B, they're playing in Houston. And I see Daikin Park. I still have to go, where the heck is that? Oh, yeah, it's Minute Maid Park, formerly Enron Field. Yeah. Pool C is in Tokyo, and Pool D is at Lone Depot Park, formerly known as Marlins Park. Please bring the statue back to left center field. I miss the statue in Miami. So let's take a quick peek at Pool A is an interesting pool. The teams in Pool A are Team Canada, Team Colombia, Team Panama, Team Puerto Rico, and Team Cuba. Tell me your thoughts on
Puerto Rico is still good, but like the problem for them is like they don't have the Francisco Lindors, right? He's out with an injury, and they had a bunch of guys who wouldn't get insured for their contracts. They couldn't play. So that kind of hurts Puerto Rico a little bit, whereas they should have been a powerhouse. Cuba's always solid. They were good last time too. I think Canada is going to be surprisingly good. I think they have enough pitching this time around, and I like that they're going to have guys like Owen Casey, Josh Naylor. They're going to have a ton of hitting. So I actually think Canada's never advanced out of their pool play. So I think they're going to do it for the first time this time around. I think Puerto Rico still makes it out here because 2 teams advance, but like don't count out Panama. Panama's got some interesting guys. Colombia is always tough too. It should be a competitive pool, but I would probably expect personally Puerto Rico will still make it out. And I think Canada might be the strongest roster in this pool, to be honest with you.
And here's the interesting thing. Cuba for years and years was always a huge powerhouse of the WBC because this was a chance for the Cuban national players to shine on the stage without where they normally wouldn't against major league players. And yet it seems that the consensus to come out of Pool A is Puerto Rico and possibly and Canada.
Yeah, I just think Puerto Rico still has enough talent. Cuba's got it tough. They don't have a lot of major leaguers, although they do have, I believe, Alexi Ramirez, by the way, who's a 44-year-old playing in the World Baseball Classic. I think we like to see that, right? Someone who's still older than me playing in one of these. I'll take that.
Yeah, well, but, I haven't had that since Julio Franco retired.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm sure he's still playing somewhere. But yeah, they just don't have the talent, I don't think, in this pool to keep up. Even though Puerto Rico is without a bunch of major leaguers that should have been in, like they still have Nolan Arenado. They still have a bunch of major leaguers, Eddie Rosario, MJ Melendez. They still have Yadier Molina as the manager. So I would be surprised if they don't make it out of that first pool. But Canada to me is the team to beat in Pool A.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the other pools and some of the big teams, including Japan, Dominican Republic, and the United States. College basketball, it's nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night from early tip-offs to those late-night West Coast shootouts. There's always action on the board, and now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Say that 3 times fast. You can build any college hoops parlay you want, rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits your read. You can mix spreads, totals, and player props to match how you see the slate playing out, and then you can apply the profit boost that instantly bump up that potential payout. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style. And now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Let's hear from our good friends over at Indeed. Now, there's office chaos, right? You've got deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and there's that one position that you have to fill. And do you know what? It's still sitting open. When the pressure's on, you need the right hire. This is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs help you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping to find the right candidate that it stumbles across your post. Now, here's a stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored job. You spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates who check all the boxes. Less stress, less time, and more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners to this show, you'll get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Support our show by saying you've heard about Indeed through this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Dun, da, da, da. Hey, baseball is back, and you can lock in by joining the Everydayer Club, which gives you ad-free episodes and access to our group chat on Discord. For the next week or so, you can use the code SPRING for a free month. Go to lockedonmlb.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes. And I believe it's also lockedonguardians.supercast.com as well. All right, look at that. We do a little something for everybody here. And by the way, let's go to the trivia question from the other day. We were talking about alternate scenarios of who could have landed in Milwaukee, where the St. Louis Browns would have been. It led to the trivia question. What two future World Series MVPs were teammates on the original Baltimore Orioles team in 1954? And I gave the hint that they didn't win the World Series MVP as Orioles. So it wasn't Brooks Robinson and Frank Robinson, or Rick Dempsey for that matter. Big John 0865, I knew you would get it. You're a big fan. Trivia guests Bob Turley and Don Larson. That's right, Don Larson, who threw the perfect game for the Yankees of the 1956 World Series, and Bob Turley, who was the pitcher who was the World Series MVP in 1958, were teammates on that original Baltimore Orioles team in 1954. Good job, Big John. All right, let's talk about the next pool. That's Pool A in Puerto Rico. Heading over to Pool B, that's the one in Houston, and there's certainly one heads and shoulders favorite in that bunch. If they don't get out of this bunch in this situation, that'll be really, really bad. But you've got Brazil, who, by the way, got absolutely throttled by the A's in an exhibition game today. Great Britain, which when I went to London a few years ago and did episodes of the Sully Baseball Podcast in London, there are a lot of baseball fans there. And surprisingly, most of them are Met fans because New York, I guess, is closest to London. But the Brits, they have a little bit of a self-esteem problem, so they can't adopt the Yankees, so they adopt the Mets. You have Italy. Half of my ancestry is putting out the team, and I would love to see Italy go far. And I just love to see more Italian names in the game. And then you've got Mexico, and then you've got the United States. So this is basically Great Britain's to lose, right?
Yep, just like the first time around. Absolutely. Yeah, if you go all the way back in history, it's always Great Britain's to lose. This is going to be an interesting pool. I mean, obviously the USA is, I think, head and shoulders, like you said, above everybody else. But Mexico, Italy, Great Britain, they're all kind of on even footing here. You want to see Team Italy advance? Like, Team Italy recruited pretty well this time around, if I'm being honest. Like, they've got Aaron Nola. They've got Adam Ottavino. You've got Dylan, a couple Guardians players on there. You've got
Vinny
Michael
Pasquantino is there. Vinny Pasquantino.
Vinny P, one of my favorite players. I'm not. I'll tell you this. Just being in Cleveland, not a big Royals fan. I'm like known for my Royals hate, but I do love Vinny Pasquantino, and they have Jack Caglione in this one too. I think this is actually a really good roster. I would not be surprised if Team Italy is coming out of this pool as the second team. I mean, Mexico's going to be tough. I mean, you got Taiwan Walker. They don't have a ton of pitching, but like there's some hitters. They have Jonathan Aranda. They got Randy Rosarena, who's always good. Jaron Duran. So like they got some hitters. I think Italy is the favorite to me. If I'm ranking it, I have USA 1, Italy 2 in this pool.
By the way, in the Brazil team, they have some sons of major leaguers, like Jose Contreras' son Joseph,
who's 17, by the way.
Yeah,
he's playing at 17 on this team.
Dante Bichette's son, Dante Jr., not Bo Bichette, and Manny Ramirez's son, Lucas Ramirez. I'm sorry, I thought wasn't Manny Ramirez from born in Washington Heights and of Dominican descent?
He sure was. I guess some lineage there. He's got Brazilian. I don't know.
A little Brazilian. There you go. Well, I mean, I think that's as someone who was a big fan of Manny Ramirez in his days with the Red Sox, and I was living here when it was Manny Wood in LA. I always said that rooting for Manny Ramirez was kind of like a trip to Las Vegas. It's really fun at first, and then it gets a little bit out of control. And then at one point you say, oh, man, we got to end this. But then when it's over, you think, okay, thank goodness that's done. But it was a lot of fun, wasn't it? And I saw that with Cleveland fans, Red Sox fans, and with Los Angeles fans. All had the same Manny experience. So let's see what Lucas can bring about. Obviously, the United States is the favorite here. I would love it to see that. I would love to see Italy be the other one there. This would be one where they would be, if they both, if USA and Italy both get out of that, I think that'd be a lot of fun. Mexico, I think, is also still going to have a lot of talent on the team, but obviously the United States is the clear favorite in this group. If they don't make it out of this, then that's going to be that'll be just a calamity.
Oh yeah. I mean, they should. I mean, this is the round you're going to have Skubal for and possibly Skenes. So, and they replaced some guys on the roster. Like they've had some pullouts because of pitching. They have enough relief pitching and too much hitting not to advance out of this round. I mean, Great Britain, I shouldn't count out Great Britain. Like they've got Jazz Chisholm, they've got Trace Thompson, who's Clay Thompson's brother, who's had some success. They've got Harry Ford. I just don't know if they have the pitching. I think that's where Italy might have. I mean, you got Aaron Nola. Like Aaron Nola is probably the best pitcher that's been on Team Italy since this whole World Baseball Classic has started. So that's a great front, right?
Yeah. When we go to Pool C in Tokyo, you have Chinese Taipei, you have Czechia, you have Korea and Australia, and obviously you have the other superstar teams with Japan. And Ohtani is not pitching, but Yamamoto is. And Akamoto, Murakami, Yoshida, Seiya Suzuki, they're all on the roster. And this is going to be a stacked Japanese team. And I guess the only question is, who else is going to come out of this pool?
Yeah, I mean, Japan's going to just absolutely dominate even without Ohtani pitching. I think everybody's on equal footing in this one too. Like Czechia obviously doesn't have quite the same because like everyone in that team, like I said before, is engineers and teachers, but that's fun. We love that. I mean, Taiwan's always really sneaky. Chinese Taipei, they're always really sneaky. They gave teams some trouble the last time. I think they're probably lacking enough talent to stay on even footing, but Korea probably is the favorite if you're at number 2 to be out of this pool. But maybe I'm a little bit biased because I want to see Australia make it out, but Australia made it out last time, and I think their roster is better this time around. So, like, I think there's a good chance that Australia could find their way coming out of this pool. But it's going to be really tough for them to compete with Korea. Those two are going to be, I think, neck and neck out of this pool.
And we're in an interesting point. I was saying this on the show I did the other day. This is the first time in my lifetime that you can make an argument that the biggest sports star in the world is a baseball player. I mean, I've seen great players. I've seen great Hall of Famers. I've seen dominating players, but I've never seen the biggest sports figure in the world be a baseball player in my lifetime. I mean, when I was young, you had, I mean, football was king, and you had, the huge, and of course you had Muhammad Ali at the end of his line, and you had Pele at the end of his line, and you had in the 80s, it was probably Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, or maybe it was Wayne Gretzky, or maybe it was someone. There was not that I mean, there were great players in the 80s, but by the time you got to the 90s, you've had the likes of
Jordan.
Jordan. You have the likes of Tiger Woods. You had the Williams sisters. You had Beckham. You have all these players. There's always been a bigger world figure in sports than a baseball player, and now you can make a compelling argument that Shohei Ohtani is the biggest sports figure in the world right now, in terms of international interest and in American interest. I mean, who is bigger right now?
Yeah,
I
can't.
LeBron's star has faded.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer LeBron. I mean, who is it?
It's not Patrick. It's not Patrick Mahomes. Like that's
no,
what
it's
I'm
not.
thinking of the NFL.
It's certainly not worldwide.
No. In hockey, I mean, Crosby's older. I guess there's Connor McDavid. Like,
oh yeah, you're right. Connor McDavid is bigger worldwide than Shohei Ohtani. No, it's Ohtani.
I think it is, which is great. I mean,
great.
The last baseball player I probably could have thought of was like Derek Jeter, honestly. Like,
but Jeter,
Ken Griffey Jr.
But they never achieved. They were great players, but they never achieved that sort of the biggest. International stardom. I mean, Griffey Jr. had a hard time getting press here in America. And a big part of that had to do with the fact that at the time there was such animosity between players and the owners that the owners weren't advertising their players. I mean, Jeter, you could make a case for a little bit, but not, he was never the best player in the sport. I mean, he's a great Hall of Famer. I'm not putting him down, but that's a huge thing. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Pool D, let's go to Miami. Israel, the Netherlands, Nicaragua, Venezuela, or Bob Murphy used to say Venezuela, and the Dominican Republic. And look, you've got Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Juan Soto, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Julio Rodriguez. You got Christopher Sanchez and Sandy Alcantara in the pitching staff. I mean, talk about thunder and lightning that you're going to have just in the lineup.
Yeah, this is going to be an absolute fight to the end, right? Dominican Republic, I think, is either 1A or 1B with Japan in terms of favorites. The USA is surprisingly favored by our friends over at FanDuel. I wouldn't put them there. I'd put Japan and Dominican Republic over them just because we know that Skubal and Skenes aren't going to be pitching when it gets to the end.
Right.
But Dominican Republic, this pitching rotation, you got Alcantara, Severino, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Christopher Sanchez. It's a great rotation. Junior Caminero, Vladi, Kettle Marte, Geraldo Perdomo, who got MVP votes a year ago. Jeremy Pena is really good. That is a nasty lineup. They've got more pitching that I think is going to play from beginning to end, and they've got a lineup just as good as USA. And then Venezuela
is a good lineup. They have a really good lineup.
They do, but they have underperformed the last couple times in WBC. They have not played up. I've always had them going pretty far in my brackets, I will say, and they've not really lived up to that. But Jackson Churio, Ronald Acuna,
Luis Abreu is there, Gleyber Torres. I mean, they've got major league hitters in that lineup.
They do. Their catchers are William Contreras and Sal Perez. Those guys are some of the best catchers in baseball. And then, by the way, you have Michael Garcia, who probably is one of the most underrated players at third base of the game. Pitching, I think their pitching is a little bit light, if I'm being honest. I think Ranger Suarez is their best starter. That might hurt them in the end, but their lineup is really good. So I think I feel bad for Israel and the Netherlands because it's going to be hard. Netherlands has some good players.
And got Drew Jones, Andrew Jones' son.
Yeah, you've got Drew Jones. Well, I don't know. Jurickson Profar probably isn't playing anymore. But
no, not now.
His brother's playing, and you got Ozzie Albies. There's some talented players, but man,
Cedon Rafael is there.
Yeah, you just can't keep up with those two rosters, man. And Nicaragua, finally made it last time around, so they're back in it again. But it's just going to be hard. They need to bring like Dennis Martinez out of retirement to pitch for them if they're going to make it out of this one.
All right. When we come back, I want a prediction for the finals. All right. I am so happy to be talking about our sponsor, MLB The Show 26. The greatest game in baseball is back with its newest installment. Baseball fans are going to have a hard time pulling themselves away from this game. Now, my friend Eleanor, she is a huge baseball fan and a big-time gamer. She told me that MLB The Show has had the best gameplay yet. She loves her A's, and she loves to take swings as Brent Rooker, Nick Kurtz, and her favorite player, Jacob Wilson. Eleanor loves to use franchise mode and take control of the team, including trades and free agency, and playing the game makes her love of her beloved A's even stronger. Eleanor told me that she loved hitting doubles in the gap as Jacob Wilson in career mode. So if you're a gamer like Eleanor, or a big baseball fan like me, or you just want to enjoy America's favorite pastime in a new, exciting way, you're going to love MLB The Show 26. Play as your favorite team and franchise players and see if you have what it takes to win your own World Series. Visit MLBTheShow.com/lockedon and use the code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Internet connection required. Pre-order now. Available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everybody. And E for Eleanor. All right. Well, I'm going to make my prediction right now. And this is not me being not patriotic. I'm a proud American. I don't think America's getting to the finals. I think it's going to be Japan versus the Dominican Republic. I think the Dominican Republic is stacked. I think the Dominican Republic it's going to be, it's funny. You see that sometimes some of the other countries, you just see, I don't want to say they play harder, but there's some more intensity in there. And I think Japan, in my opinion, is the clear favorite. It's this sort of thing, whichever team has the best player, you try to lean towards. I think the Dominican is stacked. I'm not saying that the United States is gonna bow out. I just think that they're gonna get to the semifinals, and either whomever they play in the semifinals, Japan or the Dominican Republic, will knock them out. I think the team. Let me just tell the team from Pool D that'll get to the Final Four is the Dominican Republic. The team from Pool C, obviously it's going to be Japan. From Pool B, I think will be the United States, and from Pool A, I think will be Canada. So, but I think the final will be Japan versus the Dominican Republic. I think Japan's winning.
Yeah, I think that's very likely too. I think Japan could get there. I went a little bit different in mine. I filled out a whole bracket, so I've got Canada and USA in quarterfinal 1 getting out of their pools, and I have the USA beating Canada. I think Canada's better this year, but this will be their first time getting that far. USA's got more than enough firepower, I think, to get past that one. I'm a little biased because of Bazzana, but I'm taking Australia to get out of their pool, but they're going to run into the Dominican Republic in the next round, the quarterfinal, and Travis Bazzana will be back in Goodyear with my Guardians. So it'll be a nice 5-game run for them. I got the Dominican Republic beat the USA in the semifinal. I just don't think USA is going to have the pitching to keep up, because you're going to have, again, Joe Ryan is exiting with a back injury. Skubal and Skenes aren't going to be there at that point. So you're going to have to rely on, they have other arms. Like, it's like they don't, they're going to have other guys to pitch, but you're not getting your talent. Like, is Clayton Kershaw going to pitch them to the championship? Probably not against the Dominican Republic lineup. Like we just talked about how good that lineup is. The other side of the bracket, I did take Italy and Puerto Rico out of their respective pools.
All right.
I'll take that. Puerto Rico, I think, beats Italy. That's pretty, even though they have a lighter roster than you would like, I don't think Italy has quite enough to keep up with them. I got Japan and Venezuela actually in the other quarterfinal. I'm thinking Venezuela to beat Japan in the quarterfinal.
Wow.
I have Venezuela versus the Dominican Republic in the championship. Take the Dominican Republic. Like I said before, Venezuela has underperformed at the
And
last
they got
couple
good
of
hitters.
World
They got
Baseball Classics.
real good hitters. But yeah.
Yes, I think they have a great underrated lineup. Like I said, the pitching isn't fantastic, but you do have Suarez, you do have Eduardo Rodriguez. I think their hitting is going to be enough to keep up with Japan. You know, if Ohtani pitching, right? Like they have other good pitchers, but that lineup, like again, Acuna, Abreu, Churio, Gleyber Torres, like that lineup is going to be able to hit. I think their coaching staff, they got Miguel Cabrera coaching for them now. Like I think they're going to light a fire. Victor Martinez, one of my favorite guys, is on that staff. Like they're going to light a fire. So I have them getting to the finals. I think that's a bit of an upset, obviously, but it's about time they perform up to their potential in one of these tournaments.
Interesting. Good call. Because the last thing I was going to say was pick a WBC MVP not named Shohei Ohtani. And my pick was going to be Murakami. Munetaka Murakami. You can't pick Ohtani. I'm going to go with Murakami, using this as a showcase to let everyone know that he has arrived.
I think it's Junior Caminero. I think if the Dominican Republic wins, obviously they have good pitching, but I think Junior Caminero is going to have a heck of a time in the WBC. He's going to hit like crazy, and people don't know about who he is. By the way, former Guardians prospect, Clevelanders will hear that and be like, great, we gave up an international superstar in Junior Caminero for answer that trivia question. That'll be a trivia question there, Sully.
Yeah.
Who was Junior Caminero traded for?
I don't off the top of my head, I don't remember. I forgot.
It's good. It's very obscure.
Was it Rick Manning?
No, I don't think anybody's wife was involved in this one.
I can't. That's you know what X said when he walked into the bedroom that day. I can't believe what I just saw. By the way, Dennis Eckersley, the classiest man in the history of baseball. Do you know why? He thanked Rick Manning in his Hall of Fame speech. Think about that. And if you don't know what we're talking about, kids, look it up.
Google's free.
All right. Well, hey, thanks so much for tuning in. We got to wrap this show up here. Thanks so much for tuning into this Locked On MLB crossover with me and with Justin Lada of Locked On Guardians. We're going to be covering the games as they happen in upcoming shows. Make sure you subscribe and follow to Locked On MLB and to Locked On Guardians. We're at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter, or whatever it's called these days. And what's your Twitter handle or whatever it is?
JL_baseball, or you can find me on Blue Sky at JL Baseball as well.
And if you never miss an episode, the Everyday Club that's built for you, you can get Locked On MLB or Locked On Guardians ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to either Locked On MLB or Locked On Guardians.supercast.com, join the club, and check out the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel, and make your second listen either my show or Justin's show. Let's do the other trivia question, which is this. Who has the most home runs in World Baseball Classic history? There you go. That's the answer. Will come up tomorrow. Talking about actual games that people will care about and try as hard as they can. This has been a WBC preview episode. That's Justin Lada of Locked On Guardians. My name is Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.